Welcome back from the Four Nations face-off break as the Edmonton Oilers absolutely lay a stinker down. 6-3, the final in favor of the Philadelphia Flyers. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the GCL Diesel Oil Stream postgame show. Tom Gazzola, Hernan, Salas with you. Joaquin Gage will be stepping in for Matt Cassian. You can text us your thoughts on that game. I've got a feeling we're going to get a lot of angry texts today, and I'm here for it. 780-218-9999. Get to the nasty chat as well. Despite the result, please hit that thumbs up. We appreciate you very, very much. My goodness, indeed. That was an awful game by the Edmonton Oilers, and we're going to break it all down. Of course, GCL Diesel, providers of the best diesel engine components around, from turbochargers to injectors, fuel pumps to sensors. They are the critical engine component experts, proud to serve Edmonton and Northern Alberta for over 50 years. The Oilers could have used a turbocharger. The Oilers could have used an injector. The Oilers could have used some fuel pumps because their sensors weren't working. They were bad all around. Hernan, Salas, I mean, the Latino Heat. I don't know if you're more angry or disappointed. You were pacing around the bullpen today. You were pissed.
Yeah, I didn't want to bring the Heat this early, man.
We got to do this all over again tomorrow.
I told you I wasn't ready for this. Awful game.
They were brutal.
First two shifts of the first period into the second period. No one, there's not one guy that I can put aside and be like, he was fine. Maybe Savoie.
Sure.
Savoie looked good out there, got his first NHL point, sure. But the rest of the team, and this is what gets to me, Tom. You expect this from Oilers maybe 6-7 years ago. This is a team that wants to win the Stanley Cup. They're a Stanley Cup contender. And they come out and they lay an egg like this. Come on, man. It was terrible, Tom. There's no defending it.
Super sloppy.
I mean, and listen, Stuart Skinner not good enough. I mean, the back door I'm not putting on him. And then the power play it was a beautiful setup. Great pass by Konechny to Kuzmenko. But you need to be better, man. Coming out of the break. It's
defense
clear.
Was dog, you know what.
Kulak awful tonight.
Bouchard awful.
And this is what pisses me off about Evan Bouchard. And it's getting to me, Tom. Fine, turn the puck over. He's offensive. Guys that are offensive are always going to turn the puck over. Everybody says that. Fine, okay. It's the effort after he turns it over. Watch him on the first and third goals, guys. Anybody, guys and gals. Go watch him. As soon as the puck's turned over, look at his effort. There's no effort there. It's like there's nothing. He's like, oh, well. And then we saw Nurse with Ekholm in the third.
I told you. Well, it looked like Bouchard missed a couple of shifts.
Who was out there with the goalie pulled? Nurse and Ekholm.
Yes.
Finally. Hold this damn guy accountable, man. Yes, he was great in the playoffs last year. We're talking about now. He was awful. The break did nothing for Stuart Skinner or Evan Bouchard and half of the guys that played today because they were awful, Tom.
A lot of passengers. I would, out of the 18 skaters, probably pin it at 14 or 15 passengers.
That could have been 8-3. Could have been 9-3. Yes. They gave up a damn 2-on-0 shorthanded.
Great save by Skinner on that one.
This team, man. It's one game. Let's not overreact. I know I'm fired up, but coming off the break, they always struggle. Well, stop struggling then. Show up.
780-218-9999. The Latino Heat is fired up, and I'm loving it. We get to do this all over again tomorrow. If they play like that against Washington in Washington tomorrow, it is going to get nasty because the Philadelphia Flyers are not a particularly strong team. They pissed away that game. Pissed away 2 points. We'll see if the Vegas Golden Knights can beat Vancouver tonight. Edmonton's still holding down first in the Pacific. They have the tiebreaker over the Golden Knights. All right, let's get into the scoring summary, and then we'll get to your texts as well. Matvei Michkov opened things up, his 17th of the year from Scott Lawton and Igor Zamula at 2:07. It was the second shot of the game for the Flyers. Another breakdown in front of Stu Skinner. 1-0 at that point. At 7:06, John Klingberg picks up his first goal as a member of the Oilers from Emberson and Brown. 1-1. The Oilers do take the lead at 9:31. Nice play by Matt Savoie, playing in his first game as an Oiler, setting up Leon Draisaitl's 41st goal of the year. Klingberg, the second assist. 2-1 Oil. After one, that second period was an absolute disaster for Edmonton. At 1:45, Owen Tippett unassisted, his 15th of the year, to get the equalizer. We're knotted up at 2. Then it would be Sean Couturier, who was left uncontested. He scores his 9th from Michkov. He banks it in off. Skinner almost made the save. He banks it in. Couturier does off of Skinner's pad when he was left all alone. 3-2 Flyers. Then that goal coming at 7:13. Matthias Ekholm would respond quite quickly after at 8:34 to tie it up on a nice feed from Leon Draisaitl. Give Ekholm his 8th goal of the year. Draisaitl up to 85 points. A very impressive year for 29 in orange and blue. But that's as good as it would get for Edmonton, because Owen Tippett would add his 2nd of the night, his 16th of the year from Michkov and Couturier at 12:26 to make it 4-3. And then Andrei Kuzmenko on the power play makes it 5-3 Philly at 15:37 from Konechny and Ristolainen. We go to the third period where Ristolainen would add an empty netter. He bombs one in from about 165 feet. His 3rd of the year from Couturier at 17:01. Shots on goal in this game today, 32-18 in favor of Philadelphia. Faceoffs, 53.5% to 46.5 in favor of the Flyers. The Oilers power play 0 for 1. It did not look dangerous at all today. It actually gave up that 2-on-0. Where Skinner had to make a save. The PK goes 1 for 2, so the Oilers lose the special teams battle as well today. Hits 18 apiece officially. Block shots 13 for Philadelphia, 7 for Edmonton. Giveaways 19 for the Oilers to 16 for the Flyers. Takeaways 10 for Edmonton, 4 for Philly. The final score 6-3. Joaquin Gage is standing by before we get to Gager, who is our game analyst today on the post-game show. I will get to the turning point of the game presented by Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy. At Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy, we treat you like the pros. Our multidisciplinary team includes sports medicine physicians, along with highly skilled physiotherapists, strength and conditioning coaches, and massage therapists. If you have a nagging pain you'd like to see go away, book your consultation today at www.advantagesportsmed.ca. How about a nagging pain of the Oilers playing so sloppy and brutal defensively, turnovers left, right, center? I'm going to say the turning point of the game was basically the second period for the Oilers. I mean, they cough up 4 goals. They had the lead going into the second. They cough up 4 goals. Tippett and Couturier at 1:45 and 7:13. Then they get the equalizer from Ekholm. And then at 12:26, Owen Tippett gets his 2nd to make it 4-3. Kuzmenko at 15:37 basically puts it on ice for the Flyers. So the second period was the turning point. Edmonton was awful in the middle frame. Philadelphia, they didn't even have to try that hard, and they got the result. Edmonton in the third period couldn't even get any offense going. My goodness, what a mess that was.
Holy cannoli, man.
Holy cannoli is right. All right, let's go to some text here as we bring in Joaquin Gage right away. I know he's getting all set up there at his home studio. West End Rob texting in says, boys, Bouchard over the past 2 years has played well only in the second half of last year on the playoffs. Would you consider a trade for Seth Jones, retained for Bouchard? West End Rob. Yeah, I mean, I would, but Bouchard, bad. He's been bad all year.
Tom, like, it's the conversation has to start somewhere here, because the way, listen, you can't read too much into last year. You can't read too much into this, but I mean, the numbers that are being thrown out for this guy, like, we don't see a complete turnaround by this player. I don't know how that's even doable, man.
I don't know if it's going to happen this year. Listen, he'll bounce back next year or the year after, whatever. The contract, I think, is wearing on him.
You think?
I do think so. It's my take on it, but his play has there's no inkling that he's about to turn it around.
No.
Did you see that today? Terrible turnovers in the neutral zone. Terrible turnovers at the offensive zone blue line. You talk about the back check or the lack thereof. No inkling. There's no little breadcrumbs or indicators telling us he's going to play like the guy that played in 2 number 2, orange and blue, for the second half of the last 3 seasons and into the playoffs.
And that's what I mean. I think you can live with the turnovers for an offensive defenseman. It's the effort after, Tom, that I have a problem with. Like,
Not
it
good.
was so bad today.
Not good. All right, let's bring in Gager. Ken texting and says, bravo, Hernan. Bravo. You summarize every Oilers fan frustration with Bouch. I've never screamed at the TV with any other Oilers mistakes as I do with Bouch. The lack of effort after the giveaways, so frustrating. All right, Joaquin Gage is good to go. Gager, I mean, we're the usual suspects, I suppose, in the 6-3 loss to Philadelphia. And then some more. Where do you want to start? Well, I'll give you the floor.
Well, I think the main issue is for us, Tommy, you, I, and Hernan, we're coming off the mountain a little bit here,
Sure.
right? We've been at the height of it, and we were. I mean, I myself was quite looking forward to watching the Edmonton Oilers after a break. You know, you see them come after practice, where they went to, looked like they, looked engaged, and. There were so many heads and toes still in the sand down in Mexico tonight. This is what I call a boarding pass game, because everyone had it and there were a lot of passengers. Just not good enough, man. And it's hard because it is only one game, but you would just think that. I mean, I'm sure these guys watched what transpired over the last week and a half. Like, we were all jacked up about it,
Yep.
for to see that kind of lackluster effort all over the ice, just with little things. I mean, you've mentioned a few players. I am shocked to the point where I got, I was like, well, gosh, how many games till the trade deadline here? And how much leeway do you get until you have to really consider pulling the trigger with certain players, because they haven't shown you anything. Nanso, I was just listening to you, and I don't want to. I'm going to single out Bouchard here, but you said it. Like, when you make a mistake, your first reaction should be to make up for that mistake in some form or fashion.
Yeah.
Whether that's busting your ass back or getting in and cross-checking someone. There was, it got to the point, okay, it's one game. But then I got the fire lit under me again at the end with the scrum, and I go, oh, Bouchard's actually in there pushing around. Then he got a shot to the face, and then it was just like a little puppy. Yep, and running away after that. It was so embarrassing. Like, show something resembling anything with this guy, and take one hard stride. One. I know. I mean, that 2-on-0, you knew he wasn't going to catch anyone. Looks like he all of a sudden was in a sand trap or something like that. I don't know. There's a game tomorrow, so they can put this in the rearview mirror pretty quick.
Yes.
But again, if this game if it continued tomorrow, that's going to be complete destruction. Like, this Washington Capitals team is on a next level. They're looking at the prize. So, but just not good enough, Tommy. It was quite. I was mad. I was really mad at the game, and probably because I came from such a moment of jubilation with what happened on Thursday night.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. This is The Breakdown with our game analyst, Joaquin Gage, brought to you by South Fort Chev. Reserve your 2025 Equinox Trax and Traverse now. They won't last long. They've also got the best discounts on 2025 Silverados, and they won't be beat. See dealer for details at www.southfortchev.com. Doof texting in saying, I haven't seen a defenseman on this team commit this many turnovers leading to goals since Denis Grabeshkov. Yikes, Bouchard. Excellent Grabeshkov reference, Doof. Thanks for the text. Andy Pandy texting and says, Hernan, they've been expletive for a while now. It's flippin' snit is what I'm replacing. This group is not a Stanley Cup future winner. Not enough guts and toughness. Our D simply can't get it done. Too many forwards are just expletive ghosts night after night. Embarrassing effort coming off of a shambolic effort against the Avs. When was the last time we put a full effort? That's from Andy Pandy with some fire there, just like Hernan, Salas. Maple Jed texting. It says, Skinner's still young and inconsistent like most younger players, and is the answer long-term, but is there a reason not to shore up the goalie position for a team going on a cup run? Okay, let's talk about Stu Skinner. I didn't love some of those goals. I'm not going to fault him for all of them. I will fault him for a couple of them. He did get shelled. The Oilers could barely get any shots on Samuel. Ersson had a very casual afternoon, I have to say. But Gager, you are a resident goaltender. Today, Skinner finishes up the night with 5 goals against on 31 shots. So he makes 26 saves. That is an .839 save percentage. Didn't get a lot of help on some of those, and then a couple of them, I was like, ugh, not good. What would you say about Stu Skinner today?
Didn't like one bit of his game tonight, Tommy. He looked stiff. He looked like his equipment didn't fit. The Tippett goal, I believe the second one when he drove the net, it was just he looked like a very timid, scared goaltender. I didn't. We were talking about the body language of Stuart Skinner just yesterday, Tommy, and he I didn't like it at all. He looked defeated after that goal, and it just snowballed after that. Very, very poor performance from Stu Skinner. That's not what you want to see after a few weeks off, getting back into it. I was hoping for a more aggressive, confident Stuart Skinner that we would have seen tonight. It was terrible, absolutely terrible. I look at him and Bouchard as two of the key reasons why you need something from one of those guys every night to win, and there was nothing. And he was, I mean, I could break down, but I didn't like anything. There was, he made a couple good saves, but then it was scrambly. He wasn't able to read the play. And then what I find when goaltenders get a little bit behind the 8 ball and that confidence starts to wean, he just became fully puck focused the rest of the night. Didn't realize where any of the other danger was coming from. He couldn't anticipate any passes. He was always slightly behind with everything. No, not a good night from Stuart Skinner.
And not just that, guys.
Or morning.
He's coming off his last game. He got pulled. He wasn't very good either. So
yeah.
We're all expecting him to bounce back, and this break is going to do them wonders. It did them the opposite. Now, I think they will be better tomorrow, and we'll get to that. But today was just for Stuart Skinner, and I think Gage makes a great point. He looked. What was the word you just used? He looked like he had some fear, like he was scared, like it was just
he was
like
timid. He was timid.
And they weren't going to pull him because they have a game tomorrow. But yeah, I did not like Stuart Skinner's game. And I know there's a bunch of people on X saying this is Calvin Pickard's team and all that. And listen, guys, who knows what happens? If they continue to lose here in the next 6 games that are left before the trade deadline, we got to remember, too, Skinner's not Bowman's guy either, right? He inherited him. Listen, I'm not ready to give up on Stuart Skinner. He's fairly young. But you need better goaltending, Tom. And Calvin Pickard, as good as he's been as the backup, you can't ride with him. So it's Stuart Skinner's team, and I know that angers the fans, but he's got to show more than what he's showing so far as of late, because this team hasn't been very good. Again, they leaked another one on the PK. It was leaky before the Four Nations. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm starting to understand why some Oiler fans are getting more and more frustrated with Stuart Skinner right now.
One win, guys. Gager, before you add to that, one win for Skinner in his last 5 games.
I on the stick of dynamite chart, guys. I think that our wick is a little bit longer than a lot of Oilers fans, right? They're closer to blowing this thing up, but and I don't know if it's just I felt that this game was going to be going a completely different direction from the Edmonton Oilers. I thought we would see a team getting to that, like after this All-Star break, this is the time of the season where finally there's light at the end of the tunnel. The games that really mean something, you can smell them, you can almost taste them, right? You're getting there. This is when you batten down the hatches and start looking forward to possibly doing something very special. And when you see key parts of your team that you've been waiting for a long period of time, I don't know. There's not enough games now. You know, something has to be done. If this continues, you have to do something, because as we know, these are two key areas. If they don't shore these areas up, or these guys don't start playing better, it won't matter, because this team won't get out of the first round.
24 hours from now, if we're talking about a convincing Oilers win against Washington, will this all be water under the bridge, do you think? Or will we still be going, boy, they really pissed that away, even though they, if they were to win in Washington tomorrow, would it still, did this spoil the weekend already? Or am I being too harsh?
Yeah. It's just at the point of the season now, Tommy. You need something else. Like you need to show some fire, some passion in any
existent.
Yeah, it boggled my mind today, Tommy. I was like, where is this? Like, what is going on? And I know that we just watched that other stuff that was it was ridiculous. The speed, the skill, the passion. But I mean, I'm not even playing anymore, and I wanted to go play hockey. I can't imagine for guys that are actually in it and watching that. And maybe they didn't. Maybe they just completely shut off and didn't watch it. But I don't know. I think tomorrow, if the Edmonton Oilers show what kind of team they are, that will probably be enough for me to be okay. Okay, they just came off the break. Maybe it just wasn't there. Whatever it was, just you're going to have crappy games. Just poor timing of it all. And even if they lose in a well-fought, hard-nosed hockey game, I'm saying, okay, it's okay. They're playing a good team. That's all right. But start rolling from here. But if they come out with that same effort tomorrow, and just lackluster, that's when my wick is going to be a lot shorter to the Dynamite, where they need to pull the trigger on something to change it and get this going in the right direction.
Well, and like for me, it was like you're getting your captain back who scored the goal for Canada. Like, where's the excitement? Where's the fire? They were awful in the first two shifts. Now, they took the lead for a bit there, and they got a good couple goals. They were feeling good about themselves. But then in the second period, boys, it just fell apart. And I think that's what's angry. That's why the fans are so angry, because this was the game to start off good on this road trip. This was the gimme game.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to disrespect the Flyers, but the Oilers should beat this team.
They're not very good.
They should beat this team. And now you're going into Washington tomorrow, where, you've had a little bit of success there. But, Washington's playing today too, so there's no excuses for either team. But the effort these guys gave today, it is concerning. It is concerning. You should be concerned. Now, not to the extent where we need to blow it up, boys, right?
No.
Like all within reason. And if you look at our nasty chat or inbox, all Bouchard Skinner guys.
Shocking, first of all. I just want to add that. I want to point this out. Speaking of Bouchard, and your four, let's call them the pillars on D, the veteran guys, Bouchard, Ekholm, Nurse, Kulak, all over 20 minutes, a combined -8 today. And I think that sums it up. And the best out of those four was Darnell Nurse at -1. With 21:33 time on ice. They had to get Bouchard away from Ekholm and put Nurse and Ekholm
They went two
together.
lefties, guys.
Yeah.
Like I know he does that with Kulak and Nurse, but we've never seen him do that with Ekholm. So that to me was telling, and it was just even at the end of the game with the goalie pull, guys, he did not have Bouchard out there.
Nor should he have.
No, 100%.
By the way, on a positive note, Klingberg and Emberson over 15 minutes each. Actually, Emberson almost 16 minutes. Both of them +2 for a combined +4. So that's something.
Kulak, my favorite player. It was an off morning for him.
Correct.
I don't know. It was
bad.
it was not good. Maybe it was bad bacon and the pancakes weren't good. I don't know, but that was. I'll give him a pass just because he's played great this year, I think. But it was a very off morning for Kulak, that's for sure.
It doesn't happen often with Kulak.
No.
You can live with it. But Owen Tippett ran the Oilers show today.
Well, I was just going to say, like, did Philly do anything really to force the Oilers' hand? Especially in the neutral zone, because Edmonton in the neutral zone was a disaster today. Were they doing something that exposed the Oilers, or was Edmonton just that lackluster?
Turnover City, man.
Turnover City's right.
They closed it off, right? They put them in a position where a lot of times the play was to get the puck deep and probably go chase it, right? And there was too much trying to gain the zone. You got to read the situations. Like Bouchard, that first goal, he gets the line, like take it down a little bit or hold on to it, and he just gives it away, goes back the other way, and they score. There's just, I don't know. I don't know if the coaching staff, they have to have a talk with this guy. Like, and I don't know if it's been done yet, or Paul Coffey has to sit him down or maybe go for dinner and have a discussion. Like, we've talked about this whole my contract year and all this stuff. Like, enough's enough. Like, if that's the real reason, Tommy, if that's weighing on him, then I don't want him on my team anyway. Because I know it. You have to care about yourself a little bit, but hockey is the ultimate team game. And if you're just worried about the selfish things of how much money I'm going to make the next year or all these other individual things, then go to Europe and go put up points. Go do something else. Yeah. Like, enough's enough. So get your stuff in order. Pull up put on your big boy pants and start playing like a solid NHL defenseman who was in conversation to play on that Team Canada at the start of the year. Enough's enough.
It's unreal, the fall, though, guys. Like, and
that's my theory. I just want to reiterate. Go ahead, Nanso.
No, but you're right. Like, if the contract is why he's playing bad, why would you want a player like that? Like, that means that anything that comes up that's going to affect him, it's going to rattle him. And I said it in the opening, we talked about it, but it's just, I don't think it's up for a lack of caring, guys. But, like, I can't understand, and I wish one of the coaches and someone would ask, like, just the no effort once he screws up. It's almost like he's pouting, like, whatever. Like, I screwed up again. I'm not even going to try to get back.
That is almost as frustrating as the initial mistake to me. Like, when I see that, like, go. You messed up. Try to fix your mistake.
Like, turn it over. Sure. Go ahead, turn it over. But at least show an effort to get back there and try to break up the play. On the 2 giveaways today, and then you see him skate off the ice and he's shaking his head and he's all angry. It's like, well,
I don't think he's angry enough. Like, there was one point he was just like, he goes to the bench and a goal against faster than he does back checking. That's
a good point. Yeah, he takes off.
He takes. Where was that earlier in the year where he got burned, had a giveaway, and whoever scored against the Oilers, and then he took 3 hard strides to the bench.
I'm like, where was that?
Yeah.
Where was? Yeah, no, jeez,
it's weird. It's weird.
And Tommy, so I shouldn't say that we've all said maybe this contract's weighing on him.
Yeah.
And at a point where it's more like, okay, I got to have a good year, right?
Right.
But I'm just saying, if that's the focal point for him, like, he should be more worried about why am I playing so poorly? Why is it when you look back at goals against, other teams aren't having to generate stuff. I'm handing them stuff on a platter.
Yes.
Right? It's boggling that this hasn't been rooted out of his game yet over 3/4 of the season.
Yeah, like, this isn't to be fair, guys, this isn't a slump anymore. He's just having a bad season.
He's having a bad year.
Yeah. It's no more of that. Like, he's a slow starter. Like, we're almost into March here. Like,
and it shows. Look what they did. Look what they did. They got like the guy that came in and kind of anchored Bouchard and made life a little bit easier for him. They were trying to get him away from Ekholm and the benching and things. I don't know, man. Are we close to seeing him being put in the press box here soon?
No, because he still led all defensemen in ice time, and that's the thing I think that's going to frustrate Oiler fans is he keeps playing. He's usually the leader in ice time, guys, and that's not going to go away. They're not going to take that away from him.
Well, they refused to. So, I had a coughing fit because I was laughing at some of the texts that are coming in via the nasty chat. So I apologize and excuse me, but I want to get to a few of them because people are pretty fired up. Understandably so. The Oilers lose 6-3 to the Philadelphia Flyers today. They do have a chance to redeem themselves tomorrow afternoon against the much better Washington Capitals club that's been at the top of the standings all season long in the National Hockey League. So I'm going to get to a few texts here. We're going to start out via the nasty chat. It's where is it? I saw it from Debbie. She's fed up with Bouchard. She says he has to go with all caps. Jason Gagnon says Gager is on fire today. M. Bals, I'm not going to read the rest of the handle, says bench Bouchard, spelt deliberately Bouchard. If he's worried about his contract. Ace says Bouchard should have been called out last year, but he's playing well at this time last year. I understand where Ace is coming from on that. Zulu does think that benching Bouchard would send a huge message to him. And I get that, but the other thing too about him, and we joke about how he skates off faster after a goal against than he does in the actual between the whistles. Would a benching actually resonate with him, guys, from getting to see his demeanor and how he carries himself? Or would he just be like, oh, I'm benched, and then kind of like shake his head and you go like this? Like, does he really?
I don't think it affects Bouchard. I think the team would kind of get a message like, holy crap. But this is why it's not going to happen. You can't go from a guy playing awful tonight, still playing the most minutes for all your defensemen, to the press box. Right? Like, at least
that is a message.
At least cut his minutes. But Tom, they still played more than any other defenseman tonight.
He played just under 23 minutes, guys.
That's my point. Like, obviously the coaches are fine with it. Well, they're not fine with it because he missed a few shifts with his normal partner, but they're still sending him out there. And he's still leading the team in ice time.
Gager?
I'm a little too fired up, boys, I think.
I like it. The heat.
Maybe you go. I'm thinking because Hernan, you got a good point. Like it's very difficult to throw a guy into the press box after playing 23 minutes as a D man, right? And I'm thinking of other ways. Maybe you go 11-7, right?
Yeah, but good point.
And then if you see a turnover, you see the effort. He becomes the grocery stick, right? And just separates the D and the forwards and watches from the middle of the bench the rest of the game. And that's just I don't know what you do to light the fire, right? Because it hasn't worked yet. You have to being a coach, and I'll say this about Knoblauch, for 2 years now, essentially, he has pushed all the right buttons with goaltending and matchups, everything else. But this one seems to be the enigma, right? The Bouchard enigma of how am I going to get this guy back to what we saw, to even remotely close to what we saw last year in the spring, right? And everything that he's tried has not worked up to this point. This has to be a different arrow in the quiver that he has to use to somehow get this guy engaged, that he looks more motivated and acts more motivated in games, because again, I don't see it. I do not see this at all with him for this year. It's gone from a slump to a very bad year. I'm really at a loss, and that's probably one of the main reasons I'm not a coach, because I would probably just be way more drastic. But you need Bouchard. You need him to play find that level again. You can't. And the most important time of the year, you can't be giving the puck away like this and having these lackluster efforts and not being a little bit of a physical force and making it difficult on the opposing players to fight for space in certain areas. This has got to stop. Like I said, Tippett. I mean, we've watched Philly a handful of times here. He seems to be eating up the Oilers every time we see. But big, strong guy, driving, going to the net. I mean, that first goal he scored. He scared Stuart Skinner. He went right back to his goal line basically and just went down and hoped it hit him, Yep. But I want to see something. And I thought we saw it a little bit with Bouchard at the end. He did show some testicular fortitude kind of getting in there, but then got a shot to the face, and then that was it. I was, I don't want to do that anymore.
Please don't do that again. It hurts. The Oilers fall 6-3 to the Philadelphia Flyers. A hapless performance by the Oil coming out of the 2-week break due to the Four Nations face-off. Gazzola, Salas, and Gage with you. Text us 780-218-9999. Bad Billy says, well, that was a huge stinking pile. D was extra terrible, but Skinner still can't let in 5. Team looked dull. Obviously, Philly drank way less cervezas on the holidays. Yeah, that might be true. Cole Harbor Joe texting in says, I'm not a Stu Skinner hater, but that was atrocious. This team cannot go on a deep run in the playoffs with this goaltending. Stanley in YYC says, wow, boys, how unprepared can you get after 2 weeks? 74 makes the big saves when the game is already out of reach. F, great on defense. Someone still needs to go pick them up from Mexico. Offense, meh. 3 goals is okay, but didn't generate enough. Coaching team was nowhere near prepared to play. F, great again. Frustrating game overall. Good luck today, boys. Stanley in YYC. Anthony on Long Island chiming in says, I'll repeat what I mentioned earlier. Are we supposed to blindly give Bouchard $10 million a year and just deal with the mental lapses and giveaways? Yeah, I know. I understand, Anthony on Long Island. Very, very frustrating. Jake from Ontario says, I think a big problem with Bouchard is that there's no punishment for bad play. They constantly use him, so why would he change anything if he's consistently rewarded? He also doesn't really do much offensively, so that upside is not even there. And if you're going, how's Bouchard's season going offensively? Let me get you the update after today's game. Bouchard, 44 points through 56 games. Just double check it. I don't think he picked up any points today. No, he didn't. So he is -2 today. That brings him to plus 19, 22 penalty minutes. So 44 points in 56 games. And a 19 plus minus rating, 22 penalty minutes. Okay, we'll get some more texts. More if you have anything that you want to fire to Joaquin, 780-218-9999, or get into the nasty chat. We are going to go inside the Oilers locker room, then we'll get a couple minutes from Joaquin looking ahead to tomorrow's game. Nat, so are we ready to go with some clips?
Yeah, give me we're good to go. So how about we hear from the head coach? I'm very intrigued to hear his thoughts on this.
Sounds good. Let's go to it.
Okay, here is Kris Knoblauch.
He said it basically came down to execution and the ability not to simplify the game. Do you feel like that reigns true here?
Yeah, I think what really cost us was the turnovers and trying to make plays when there's not a play to be made or not being able to get the puck in deep. Four even strength goals. All of them were just a direct result of turnover. We're not in a good position to defend because usually in turnovers everyone's thinking something else and them going and capitalizing. So and we left skins out there to dry way too many times, giving up breakaways, 2-on-0s. It wasn't a very good sound effort by us defensively. whatsoever.
It's a fast team over there for the Philadelphia Flyers. How much did their speed kind of play into all the backdoor looks that we saw and just, like you said, leaving Skinner out to dry?
I think, they skate well and they simplify their game as much as anybody around the league, where they just depend on working hard and skating. But, if you execute with the puck a lot more better than we did tonight, you're able to spend more time in the offensive zone. They counter and, catch you standing still. So a lot of credit to them, but a lot of misplays by us.
How tough is it as a group to come back after 2 weeks and just try to get right into it right away?
Oh, well, everyone's going through the same thing. They had the same break and their same schedule, so no excuses on that. And what's alarming is if we don't get better. But tonight we got caught off guard and didn't play very well.
What did you think of Matt Savoie?
I thought Matt was one of the bright spots of our team. I thought he played really well. And obviously, gets on the forecheck, sets up the first goal. I think his next shift after that, he made an unbelievable play on the breakout led to a partial 2-on-1. He made some defensive plays on the back check. I was very happy with his game.
Timeline is filled with people blaming this loss on a goalie. What would you say to?
Oh, absolutely. No, nothing on him. There's, you can't win hockey games with turning the puck over like that, giving up odd man rushes. So there's no fault on Stu Skinner tonight.
Too many goals from the top of the crease, backdoor, open net. I guess I would say goals that you don't expect your goalie to stop. Is that fair?
No, yeah, the breakaways. Difficult shots, high tips. That was the penalty kill. Yeah, his workload was way too high, and we're not going to play a perfect game, and there'll be breakdowns where he does have to come up with a big save, but we put him on that position to make a big save way too many times. He did make some saves to allow us to give an opportunity to come back in the third period, but I'm not angry at him at all tonight.
Coach Kris Knoblauch there, fresh haircut, calm demeanor as always. He was not faulting Stu Skinner. He was very adamant about that and put it up, hung it up on the guys in front of Stu Skinner. Backdoor tap-ins, this, that. Too many opportunities where he was hung out to dry. With all due respect to Kris Knoblauch, I didn't like a couple of those goals on Stu Skinner. Gager, you made your feelings be known. So did Hernan about Stu Skinner, but is that just the coach? Do you buy everything he said about Skinner there, or do you think he was just deflecting a bit?
Well, he kind of called him out last game, right? Said he has
Rightly
to be
so.
better. Oh, yeah. So I think this was maybe for the cameras. It would be interesting to see what he would say to him, maybe on a one-on-one after, or he probably doesn't talk to him at all. Look, we've been kind of singling out two guys tonight. Yes. Or today, and the reason, and I saw someone mention it in the nasty chat. They said the whole team played poorly, and I do agree with you, but you only go as the pillars of your team go, right? And I look at the Edmonton Oilers as two of the foundational pieces of this team that needs to be strong for this team to succeed, is Stuart Skinner and Evan Bouchard. And that's kind of they go as those guys go. When those guys have good games, more nights than not, you'll see the Edmonton Oilers on the side of 2 points at the end of the night, right? So, look, from what Knoblauch said, yeah, he didn't like the turnovers. The one thing that was interesting, right, and this is probably because the Four Nations is so still like engraved in my brain with certain things, trying to make plays when there's no plays to be made, right? So, and I think it was the fourth goal, or it was turned over at the Yan mark, I believe, tried to get it a little bit further on or get closer, got it turned in the neutral zone.
Yeah.
That's right then. That's when you realize who you are, where your skill level is, and what type of player you are. That puck gets chipped deep, right? It goes past the next guy. And I think there was too many times that happened tonight where guys were trying to do something when the right play was the simple play. And that's what you saw from the U.S. and Canada in that final game. That was awesome to watch. When there was nothing there, they made the safe, sure play. So there wasn't an outnumbered situation back the other direction. That's where the Edmonton Oilers got to get to. There's only a couple guys that should be able to do that on a regular basis, and that's 29 and 97, right? The rest, play within your means and make proper decisions on the ice with the puck. And it's kind of like that game management sort of thing. So that's kind of what I took from Knoblauch. He said, yeah, we were trying to do too much, be too pretty, and we got our asses handed to us.
6-3 is the final. The Oilers fall to the Flyers. Okay, Gager, Matt Savoie, one of the bright spots. He ends up with an assist, setting up Leon Draisaitl, +1, 13:02, one shot, one block shot, one hit in that time, and I don't think he looked out of place. So here's a positive. I think they're going to let him have another look-see here. I think maybe he gets a few more games. But for his first NHL game with the Oilers, what did we make of Matt Savoie, 22 in orange and blue?
Great pass on the goal to find Leon, right? He was pumped up to play in the game. I find, it's his first game. There were moments that I really liked, but I'm sure there's a lot more to give. I want to see him against a top-notch level. Not that the Flyers were pretty good today, but I want to see them against a big, heavier team like the Washington Capitals. See what if he can muster up maybe another assist or get a few more chances.
All right, Joaquin. Take a look at tomorrow's game against the Washington Capitals, where I think if we see this effort, it might be 10-3 by the end of the afternoon.
Well, the one thing too, as a goalie, when guys say they're close to 50 or things like that, you don't want to be the goalie that gives that up, right? Mm-hmm. And going into tomorrow, not that Ovechkin can score 16 goals tomorrow night, but if they play the way they did tonight, there could be a possibility he gets a few of them. But you want to make sure that he doesn't score at least, right. And this team. And I'm searching for the name we had on our show, Hernan, on Friday there from Washington. But he said, he mentioned how he thought that this team at the beginning of the season was taken a little bit lightly, because if you look at the goals that were scored by the Washington Capitals, they were scoring a ton at the beginning of the season, and then it started to tighten up, and they were winning those 3-2, 2-1, 3-2 types of games, and the rest of the league was starting to say, hey, these guys are for real. So that's scary to me. Here's a team that was taken lightly and then taken seriously, but still were able to win games and are the best team in the league right now. So if you don't bring your best against them, you'll get eaten up. You'll get they will eat you for lunch. So hopefully you get an effort where now the Oilers have, we gotta bring our best or we're going to get embarrassed. I think they always play a little bit better at that. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow. They'll have a little bit of a mean on for it. Should be a much better effort, and let's hope that my boy Kulak can get some proper bacon and pancakes.
Gage here, the Caps, 80 points, best team in the Eastern Conference, 1 point back of the Winnipeg Jets. The Jets on an 8-game heater right now. Absolutely unreal. No days off for you. You don't take a night off. You don't take a shift off. You were excellent as always this afternoon. Joaquin, thanks for filling in for Cass. Enjoy the rest of the weekend, my friend.
You guys are great. Bye.
Yeah, there he is. Joaquin Gage, our game analyst. That was the breakdown brought to you by South Fort Chev. Keep those texts coming in, 780-218-9999. Yes, the Oilers take on the Caps tomorrow. If they have that same type of performance, it's going to be even uglier than this one was today. I'm going to read a couple of texts. I like Deaky Sparks, kind of wants to enjoy his weekend. So Deaky Sparks says, I'd say the best thing to do is get yourself a pack of 6 o'clocker loggers, a nice piece of meat, fire up the BBQ, maybe take the Christmas lights down and forget about that game. Chuck the Four Nations final back on if you're really feeling down. Get outside, enjoy the weather, take the damn dog for a walk. They don't know about the Oilers, but my God, yuck. Dicky Sparks, well said. Taco texting and says, I'm not going to lie, guys. Current state of the team makes me nervous. Yes, they're doing well in the standings, but something doesn't feel right. We were so close last season. We made changes, and now we might have even more changes at the deadline. How can we get to the final again with a team that barely resembles a team that got to Game 7? Taco, let's see how they clean it up, Taco. I'm not ready to hit the panic button. I mean, today's game was a stinker by all means.
They win tomorrow, Tom. It's all forgotten. It is.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I would still be like, well, why didn't you play this type? If they win tomorrow,
which they probably will,
just because of how they are.
Yes,
they're such an enigma.
This is the Oilers.
This
man.
is the good point. That's so Oilers. If they play good tomorrow and they beat a great Capitals team, yeah, I think there is a big element of water under the bridge. But me being that annoying, always bothered by a performance like today, I'd be like, yeah, but why didn't you show up on Saturday?
Yeah.
What's going on up here collectively? That's just me, though. And I feel like a lot of people probably are the same way, especially when it comes to this team. SJ Not in the Kootenays texting and says, if anyone's feeling bad, just go online, read the journal. Guys were outraged that Skinner wasn't on Team Canada. Good for laughs. No more power play for number 2. No dessert if you don't eat your Brussels sprouts. Yeah, Skinner didn't deserve. He is not having a season where he was worthy of being on Team Canada for the Four Nations face-off.
No, Swain sends us a stat of the
Swainer.
day. Since 2002, the Oilers are 0-5 coming out of the Olympic/Four Nations break.
Oh. Swainer, that's a good one. Nice dig, Swainer.
Yeah.
Brian Swain with the stats there. Big thank you to him. KCF says, get real. Hasek wouldn't have won that game for the Oilers. 0 effort by most of the team. Signed by KCF.
And again, we're not putting. I think everybody's agreeing. Skinner wasn't good. The team wasn't good. Bouchard specifically wasn't good. Like that. No one's getting off except for the young Matt Savoie here. Like everybody else was terrible. Kulak had a bad night.
That Draisaitl was okay.
Draisaitl was okay. I didn't mind Emberson either.
Emberson, yeah. Oh, him and Klingberg +2 each.
Klingberg scored his first goal as an Oiler. So there was some positives, Tom, but a lot of guys need to be better. And you heard the coach, and I know the coach taking some heat for not singling out Skinner, but the coaches are not going to do that on a regular. Yeah. He did it against Colorado. Tonight he took the different approach. He said it's the turnovers, and he's not wrong. I mean, you want saves, and I understand that, but the turnovers were awful.
Oh, egregious.
Awful.
Edmonton, in the third period, too, the Oilers could barely get any shots. Like, every time they got in the zone, perimeter. I didn't even feel like... I didn't even feel like Philly was doing anything that impressive defensively to keep Edmonton to the outside. The Oilers had 3 shots in the third period today. 3. Hernan, and they're down a couple.
They had 2 in the first 12 minutes of the third period when you're down 2.
Where's your give a you-know-what meter?
Yeah. Exactly.
When you can only muster 3 shots, down a couple of goals in the third against a much weaker Philadelphia team. Where's your give a crap? Non-existent, especially today in that third period. Text us 780-218-9999. Gazzola and Salas with you. The Oilers fall 6-3 to the Philadelphia Flyers. It's the GCL Diesel Oil Stream postgame show. We're back tomorrow. We're going to be on the air at 10 o'clock for the pregame show as the Oilers look to bounce back against the Washington Capitals. Nasso, do you want to go back in the room one more time? And then we do have to get to the player of the game as well. What do you want to do here? We have a few more minutes.
Yeah, we can hear from Rico.
Yeah, I didn't even notice it. I noticed him take one shot, and he had a face-off that I was like, oh, there he is.
Yeah,
and I noticed he was wearing shot blockers on his skates. That was my Adam Henrique today.
He went for
That's
a
what I
skate.
noticed. He was out there. Okay, sure.
Here's Adam Henrique.
Through the effort today, and what was ultimately the difference between you and the Flyers?
Just mistakes on our end, I think, that led to opportunities, and then they turned those into goals.
When it comes to simplifying the game, we heard Darnell Nurse right now. He said there's got to be an element of simplicity that needs to be adjusted throughout the game. Do you guys feel like that reigns true here today?
Yeah. I mean, today, we want to make plays and control the puck and attack, and we look for that three-quarter ice attack, and then neutral zone, and when you're trying to make those plays, a lot of the times sometimes there's going to be turnovers and stuff, but you got to be able to read the game at times where maybe we just simplify and put the puck in as a unit and check as a 5-man unit for check and simplify that way. But we certainly want to make plays and hang on to the puck and do those sorts of things. We have that in this room, and that's a big part of our game.
Do they showcase why their speed is so dangerous on nights when it's really going?
Owen Tippett's fast there. Gets himself in a good spot on his goal, and they like to attack and have some skill over there and play hard. So,
what's the toughest part about coming back off a long break? Because you can't replicate this in any kind of practice.
No, everybody's doing everything they can to be ready to come back, and sometimes you just feel that little bit of rust in that first game. It's we practice and go over the details and everything that we need to do to be ready, and but until you get into the game and get going, it's certainly nice to get back in the swing of things.
All right, chance for them to bounce back tomorrow. There's Adam Henrique. Not a particularly good afternoon for him either. Henrique today, he was +1 somehow. 13-23 time on ice.
He was on for the Klimberg goal.
Yes, one shot for Henrique, 57% on the dot. He did have a takeaway, so quietly an okay afternoon. I didn't think he was anything great, but he's had a lot of nights like that where you don't really notice him. Okay. Harry texting in saying, give me a break, guys. Nobody can bail Skinner out on this. Check the stats on the games before the break and ask yourself, how many games did he lead in 3 goals by the 12 shot, or let in 3 goals by the 12 shots? So giving up a goal in your first 3 shots, still not acceptable. Bash. That's from Harry. Tube Sock says less than professional effort on defense from Bouchard this afternoon. At least that's how I saw it. Hello, Steven. So let's get to the player of the game. Brought to you by Damon Bunting Real Estate. Damon Bunting, consistent, top producing realtor in the greater Edmonton area for over 17 years. Community driven. He understands what it takes to make a difference in our city. Check him out, DamonBunting.com, or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. Damon Bunting, now with the agency. Go ahead, Nanso.
Yeah, player of the game. Got to go to the other side for this one.
Yep.
Owen Tippett.
Yep.
Only played 11 minutes, Tom. 6 shots
very
on
noticeable,
net.
11 minutes.
2 goals and a +5. That's pretty.
Jeez.
That's pretty damn impressive.
In 11 minutes?
Yes. That is unreal. And he scored a beauty, man. Got to give him credit. He went by good old Kulak there. I thought he was excellent. I did not realize he only played 11 minutes, but a +5, 6 shots on net, 2 goals. The Damon Bunting player of the game for the agency is Owen Tippett.
Here. I mean, he was very noticeable. Raider Jesse sent in a stat graphic to us on X and then texted in saying, Bouchard had a bad game, absolutely, but keep in mind Bouchard having a down year by his standards as of February 5th, in all caps, was the 5th best defenseman in the entire league at not having turnovers. That is factual. His turnover rate is 5th best in the league. I love you guys, but you're talking like he's a turnover machine. He's the exact opposite in terms of his touches being turnovers, and consider the type of passes he makes are high risk, and he still turns it over less. I saw that graphic. Jesse, sure, okay, obviously I feel like turnovers are subjective, whoever's tracking them. The turnovers he has had whatever few that he's had, are absolutely egregious and lead directly to goals. And then his piss-poor second effort to atone for his turnovers is almost as bad.
Yeah, there's no defending.
He literally leads to goals against by making stupid plays and has done so consistently all season long. So, I mean,
yeah,
you can hit us with whatever analytics, but when he makes a crappy play at a blue line, whether it's his own blue line or the opposite or the offensive zone blue line, and the puck comes back the other way and it's in, and I know Raider Jesse in his text or tweet to us said, "Get a goalie." Man, like, I'm sorry, he's not having a good year. He's causing goals. And to gloss over it and say, oh, it's not that bad. His analytics, they show his turnover rate is actually not that bad. Yeah, but the turnovers, fine. I'll give you, okay, maybe it's not as bad as we make it out to be, Raider Jesse. But the type of turnovers are leading directly to goals, whatever few he has had. And he's the 5th worst turnover, best turnover rate. Well, whatever ones he's turning over are terrible, and they get scored on. And they're not all Stu Skinner's fault. Or Calvin Pickard.
Yeah.
He can't get he's a shin pad assassin this year. Is that good? His give a you-know-what meter looks like it's maybe hitting 25% every night. Is that good? Jesse, come on, man.
Like, no one can sit there today and watch this game and say Evan Bouchard was good.
No
one. And he wasn't alone. This isn't a pick on Evan Bouchard.
They were all bad today. Savoie was good.
Yeah.
Klingberg was okay. Amberson was okay.
Yeah, there's a few guys that stood out, but there's a reason why Bouchard was taken off Ekholm's pairing. There's a reason for that.
Yeah.
There's a reason why he wasn't out there with the goalie pull. There's reasons because he's not playing well. And yes, he has the puck a lot. He plays a lot. Probably the turnover ratio, Raider Jesse's correct. Yeah, more often than not, he gets the pass through. But like Tom said, when he doesn't, it usually ends up in the back of the net.
Very, very, there's a red light that goes on, and it's in the Oilers' zone a lot of the times when he makes a turnover. Whatever few he's made this year in Raider Jesse's argument. Hi, Raider Jesse. Good to hear from you. Mac Lamec texting and says, first game after the break, I can let that slip by. If the team keeps this up, management will be forced to make a serious gut check and a move. They have to make a move anyway, but with this kind of play, they may need to make a much bigger move. I don't know if they'll make a much bigger move, but yeah, that was a lot to be desired out there today. Faux show. The Gourdfather says, give me a guy who turns it over. I'm the corner, but fights to get back versus a guy with a lower turnover rate that turns into grade A and goals against. Yeah, so Gourdfather, I think there's a couple of, I was reading that verbatim, but I think you and I are thinking along the same lines. All right, final thoughts from you, Nanso, because we're doing this all over again in 24 hours here.
Yeah, Calvin Pickard, I don't expect any lineup changes. I think he's going to roll with the same guys. I don't see Kapanen drawing in, and I don't see Stetcher drawing in. So it's going to be interesting. Yeah, Tom, I mean, knowing this team, they'll probably whoop the Caps tomorrow, but you never know. So we'll be back 10 a.m. for the pregame.
Expect the unexpected, I guess. The Oilers lay an egg stinker in Philadelphia. 6-3 is the final. Much to be desired. We'll see if they can clean it up, like Hernan said. Tomorrow in Washington, D.C., it is Ovechkin. It is the Caps, second best team in the NHL. Will the Oilers show up and look like the third best team in the NHL? We'll see. We'll see. But we look forward to doing this all over again with you on Sunday. For Joaquin, Gage, and Hernan Salas, I'm Todd Gazzola. Say thank you as always for listening, for watching, and we appreciate you. Have a great rest of your Saturday. See you tomorrow.